especially because he pointed out that on Tuesday, apparently, we had 20 million ounces on one day allegedly deposited into the SLV and the Silver Trust. Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics. And tonight, part two of my call with Andrew Maguire, where we dig in how you can sue JP Morgan, or at least some thoughts along those lines of how you can recoup some losses. He does think some class action suits, even bigger ones, are coming. We dig into a bunch of different intriguing stuff in the silver world that I think you'll want to stay posted with. Although real quick before we start, I'd just like to let you know how this video came your way tonight. And it is thanks to our friends at Bluestone Resources. Obviously, with Joe Biden in the White House, Janet Yellen in the Treasury, and insane amounts of money printing coming soon. If you're looking for gold exposure, this is run by Jack Lundin of the Lundin family. Going to get him back on the show soon. You can see at their website, they had some nice drill results last year. So again, should gold continue to soar, as I think that it will, certainly Bluestone, a company that you want to take a look at and be aware of. There will be a video to Jack Lundin of Bluestone at the end of tonight's clip with Andrew Maguire. So just hang out. It'll be coming right your way. And with that said, here is today's call.
These conditions are ultimately unprecedentedly bullish for gold and silver as predatory house accounts seek to load up on physical ahead of widely anticipated at least 20% gold price rise into the end of June. And this will likely be the revaluation point, and gold will be priced in physical terms. Hallelujah.
Well, I think people are ready. Although, Andrew, what would you say if we took everything you just said, yet Silver Chris re-raised you and said, if we tack on, this just came over late last night from the great Nick Laird of Gold Charts Are Us. Go sign up, everybody. Gold Charts Are Us. Plug for Nick Laird. I love his service, especially because he pointed out that on Tuesday, apparently, we had 20 million ounces on one day allegedly deposited into the SLV and the Silver Trust. Although, to put that in proper context, back at the 2-year, you can see that that's not like a couple bars lying around the closet. I think that would be a one-day record. Possibly, okay, it looks like maybe there were a couple other days in the history of silver that were more, but what do you think about that one? Again, we can see here a big number they put up there, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, silver, that's our baby, isn't it, really? And 600 tons, I mean, come on, Chris, this is la la land. I mean, it's impossible. It's just not possible for that to be physical. It's just not available. I mean, that is as much as the entire UBS in fact, it's probably more at this point than the largest store of physical silver, which is not all for sale, but it would be sitting at UBS. That is it. There's nothing else. And that, as I say, even that 600 tons is not available. And in fact, you try and buy anything off them, and basically it's just not available at this point. And silver at the refineries, we're still looking some months out for size to complete orders. So implausible. And I think, you've raised silver. I mean, in fact, come on, let's look at this. Let's look at this, Chris. I see this now as a history book, because I think what we're looking at now is going to be all the work you've done is already encompassed in here. And I think, yeah, you can maybe add some more to it, but essentially in the rearview mirror, the timing of this book is amazing. Look, we've talked about Basel III. Silver will be a massive beneficiary of the unwind of undeliverable, unallocated gold. This is an official move to revalue gold. Paper silver positions will also have to be closed. We talked about GLD. What about SLV? totally impossible. We just talked about an impossible situation. We also remember these hundreds of tons that were flowing in, probably 200 tons a day at one point in March. It is impossible that this was physical silver. These were silver credits, as was GLD, just gold credits, i.e. unallocated positions. This is extremely bullish for silver, and why every major bullion bank is loading up on physical silver. And as a result, dips will be competitively jumped on by both good and bad actors alike. Now, it's important to also keep in mind that this SLV represents, it's important to remember, it's unallocated silver credit, not a physically deliverable price. So we're going to evidence, I mean, we're talking 100 to 1 in gold. It's probably 500 to 1 in silver. I mean, these are the most leveraged positions on the planet Earth. These are the banks that are valuing silver right now at 35 bucks. And I'm talking about right now at 35 bucks. Do you think they've got a single ounce for sale? No. The paper positions they have that they've been controlling have simply because of position concentration, where they immediately snap up anything in the spot market that might be deliverable and put into the hopper of the refineries. Now, I think once silver closes the technical gap, and I think this is an important level, because I know from a wholesale market perspective, I know that a lot of the first tier banks are looking at this. You get above 26,225. You're going to see a gap close pretty close to 35 bucks. And look, it's going to take no prisoners once you get there either, because it's going to be 50 bucks pretty soon after that. As soon as we see $30, it's going to suck in a massive amount of sideline money, which is going to compete with these insiders who have a very long physical gold position, the silver position. Now, as I say, we're 100% certain that these actors you're talking about are filling their boots with all the physical silver they can, and they are busy taking delivery of all physical silver on offer so deep below this fair value. It's just a no-brainer. 25 silver, give me a break. I mean, the upside profits, even in the March contract, are huge. In fact, I mean, you're an OPEX guy, right? You understand, but you're an OPEX trader. You understand the options market. And you only have to take a look at the structure. It's so blatantly obvious that the house at no point needed a price a sub 25 silver price. And if it had, that would have moved into backwardation, potentially putting SI in the crosshairs of even larger size delivery. Look, we're not alone in seeing dips in silver as an actionable physical buy.
Well, I appreciate that. And actually, we'll come back to options in a moment. As I know you mentioned, I've been lazy and forgetting each month to look at the option board before option expiration. But this month, I want to be ready. So perhaps we can dig into what we can ascertain leading up to that. But something I'm so excited about, I can't even wait any longer. So here we have criminal enterprise JP Morgan. And in terms of, all right, maybe we can or can't affect the silver price by just letting investors know that the banks are running a Ponzi scheme that's set up for the inverse of It's a Wonderful Life, which we'll leave that aside. But what we can perhaps influence is the legal process here. Now, one thing I'll throw out there to begin, I forget who it was I was talking that mentioned this, but saying something to the effect that JP Morgan will never go, it may have been you even, that they'll never go to a courtroom because they'd be subject to the discovery process and God knows what else you would find in there.
Yeah.
So you take that a step further, but here's what catches my eye. JP Morgan settles lawsuit that accused firm of spoofing precious metals. All right. So the suit by Daniel Shack. Any chance you've been in contact with him or have ever met him, Andrew?
No, I haven't personally, no.
Well, I'm going to see if we can get in touch. I'd love to talk with him because here, settles lawsuit. That's an interesting precedent because while this article does not say exactly what the settlement was, basically these guys went to JP Morgan, said something, and JP Morgan said, "Here is your check." I've asked a couple legal friends, or maybe there's a lawyer watching in the crowd tonight, but basically, three plaintiffs had accused JP Morgan. And by the way, long denied. JP Morgan, which declined to comment, has long denied engaging in spoofing. So basically, this sets a precedent that anything JP Morgan ever says is at least worthy of further examination. But again, down here, these guys went with some case. They got an agreement. So based on what you know and have seen, I know there's a couple suits out there, but what's the next step? I'm welcome, happy to spearhead something or at least pass along information. But for the people who were stolen from, what do you know there?
Well, I think that, look, what you've just really drawn attention to is the fact that somebody has gone and lifted the lid enough to spook them to want to settle. Now, I think that there, as we said before, there is no reason that an infinite number of class action suits could not be sprung up at this point. You've got enough here that any good lawyer could put together a class. And there's enough people who've been rinsed over the years to join that class. And ordinarily, you would maybe get 10, 20 cents if you were lucky on the dollar, and the lawyers get rich. In this instance, you've got admissions of criminal, well, you've got the regulators talking about criminal organizations, and it's going to be very difficult. And I think in each and every case, I think you'd find a settlement before you even got to the court steps. Because, as you say, it's this discovery process. You cannot, in a court, the forcing of that discovery process would lift the lid on not just spoofing, it would lift the lid on the kind of evidence that we're providing, which was, this is where the gold price, silver price will be on the next day. So really, it's a question of, I hope somebody is watching this and sees the potential. A good lawyer could easily put this together, and you would instantly have enough subscribers to come in on that, participants to come in on that class. And it really, in this case, because it would probably be settled without many legal fees at all, I think a series would have to be, probably non-disclosure clauses would be put on, but there'd be a range of settlements popping up. And each one would not be revealed, but there'll be a lot of them. None of them will ever get to court. They have to be settled. However, this bank can make $1 billion in a trading day. So perhaps not in gold and silver anymore. Again, now we've got this situation, this put under the market, and to me, that's never been there before. It never ever been there before, and it's only because they've screwed themselves by making themselves a physical, pretending to be a physical market, and people simply coming and saying, "Well, I can't get it from a refinery. I'll come and get it from you. You better know." So they can't price it at that price. So this is the only condition. We've never seen this condition in the history of the COMEX before. It wasn't designed as a delivery market, but it's kind of got themselves in the squeeze now, and the COMEX will be grossly affected, hugely affected by Basel III rules too, because obviously you can't have a spot price that is different, a physical price that is different to the futures price. And so the spot price will have to be, because we're having unallocated contracts converted into physical, so the spot price will be a physical price, and all of a sudden you've got to have exactly the same price in the COMEX. So it's really, and the over-the-counter market is 10 times larger than the COMEX. I think we have a solution here. I think these guys are running for the hills. But I think for those people that have been hurt, and to recap many of the things that went on in here, should go and get a settlement out of these guys. In fact, they've got their arms out saying, just let us write you that check, because we can't let you look under the cover. And I'm sure there's, unless somebody refuses to actually accept that and continue just for the sake of getting discovery, and refuses, no matter what the size of the settlement, well then, okay, then maybe we would see that come crashing down. But I think whatever it is, you know, start to getting into $1 billion, start getting into big money. But what I'm saying is, go grab your money back, go buy silver, and then, hey, you know, you've won anyway. It doesn't matter. These guys are bad actors. They're criminals. There's a lot of criminals in this world. Let's move on and be positive.
Yeah, and if there are any lawyers or experts in that field watching who have some insight there, you can email at arcadia@milesfranklin.com. Last one, is there anything you can point us towards here to look at the option structure? So if we have option expiration coming next Tuesday,
Yeah,
I want to be ready for this one. So what can we look at that can give us any insight into which way the price is going to be rigged? And I might add, just before I turn it over to you, that this isn't my opinion, and I actually have some weird hobbies. I actually read some of those settlements where the former JP Morgan traders confessed, and in one of them they talked about front running the options, driving it. Basically, they're selling insurance policy and then lying about the fact the house is on fire. But how can we outgame the spoofers next week? And again, not legal financial trading advice, just
no, exactly. But I think what it tells us at this point, what it tells us, and again, we'll know even more on Monday, but what it tells us at this point is that for silver in particular, as I say, at no point has the options market suggested sub 25 is going to be beneficial for the insiders. It is really, I think 26 right now looks more magnetic. But I think it's going to be difficult, because we're only talking about 3 trading sessions away. And then, but silver, as you know, has at no point since March moved into backwardation. It is running at up to 30 cents. Currently 10 to 12 is about, never drops below 8 or 9 cents contango. And the reason is because it has become the market. And I think what they're trying to avoid is any form of backwardation to be attacked. So to me, the option structure, I don't know if you see the same as me, but I see right now, really 26 is more magnetic. 25, they really don't need it below 25. In fact, I think it would actually not behove them to have it below 25, simply because there's a lot of wholesale interest that in the spot market that would be competing against them. And I think that we further out the curve, we're seeing some lightening up of positions all the way up into 30, seeing some lightening up of resistance. So I think we're at an interesting point here. I'm not telling everyone go out and buy silver or buy the dip, or I'm not saying any of that. But what I'm saying is it would not suit insiders to have it below that level.
all right. Well, we'll look forward to the fireworks next week. Andrew, and wrapping up, any updates with Kinesis? How are things coming along? Things people should know?
Yeah, look, I would actually, in fact, Tom Coughlin, the CEO, just gave a really good update on Kinesis. I really would invite everyone to hop on the Kinesis website and catch up with the Kinesis 2020 year-end update and pretty much what to expect. I mean, if you look at that, some of the detail there, and I think if you scroll up to page 12, I think you're going to see, look at the increase in trading volume. And I think you're going to see, look at that. I mean, we're talking in the region of over 360 million traded just in December. It's really catching on. Digitizing gold. I mean, everyone's talking about Bitcoin, everyone's talking about cryptos, but really when you're talking about digital gold, you're kind of attracting the people. It's not a crypto. It's what it is just digitized gold, not just digitized gold trading on the blockchain. So obviously, and if you're sharing the yield of those transactions, it's going to attract a lot of institutional interest as well as everyday interest from people. So, I mean, we're talking about the report. If you look at Tom's update, we're looking at the release of the virtual Kinesis Visa card. There's the iOS and Android mobile applications, new platform interfaces, the new Mint integration into the platform. These functions are becoming simpler and simpler. We've had massive back-end development in the EU and the UK banking card program, the Indonesia projects, banking integrations, which you're going to hear a lot about soon. You'll soon be able to trade Kinesis in almost every single currency seamlessly. Look, there's so much more. I mean, really, I just want people to come and join us on this journey, because it's not going to cost you anything, and yet you can just use this as a payment system. So please go and have a look, and come and be part of the solution, because we are all part of the solution.
How are we looking in the US? I know they stick silly regulation everywhere. And I know you guys have spent a lot of time digging through the damage that government does. So how's that looking right now?
Well, I think really there's nothing to stop this being a full global currency. I don't see any obstacles along that route. We are KYC'd. We've got the wind at our backs in this situation, because we are actually we adhere to regulations. And really, but all we're doing here is providing an alternate monetary system to the fiat system, and also at the same time having 5,000-year-old gold. Equally the even more ancient silver, backing each and every transaction, backing and having that gold and silver in your name. Sometimes I know that some of my family members here keep buying KO. They never spend it, but I think it's important that you do actually use the system and then share in that system, because your bullion that you own is never going anywhere. If you can draw that bullion down at any time, it sits in the vault. So, it's something, I think, to understand how it all works, you just have to hop on, and there's people there will answer your questions. Any granular questions you've got could be answered live on chat.
Thank you again for sharing this update on gold and silver. Folks at home, go contact your lawyers so we can sue JP Morgan, have a big party, and we'll look forward to doing this again next week.
And take this book with you when you go.
Yeah. Well, I thank you. Thank you for being a part of that one, Andrew. And if anybody does want to pick up the book, link in the description field below, available in audio and paperback. And Andrew, with that said, I guess since we were a little bit late this month, who knows which felonies JP Morgan will commit by your next appearance in about 2 weeks. So thank you for being here, and we'll catch up soon.
I think there's going to be a scramble. It's going to be exciting. Thanks, Chris. And I look forward to the next one.